Welcome to The Favorites, the podcast presented by Bet365. We are part of the Action Network. Today is our NFL Week 15 Sunday recap episode. I am Chad Millman. I am joined by my BFF, my companion, my compadre, my co-host, my partner in winning, professional bettor, Simon Hunter. Hello, Simon.
Aloha, Chad.
Dude. At
Dude.
various points during the witching hour today, that 3 to 4 window that Scott Hansen always talks about on Red Zone, we were 4-0 to start the day with our first 4 games. We were 2-2. We were 1-3. We were 4-0 again. And then we wound up 3-1 to start the day with Buffalo 2.5 against the Cowboys in the late game. That was never a contest. A 4-1 day overall with a crazy, crazy second half in the early window. We're going to get into all of it. Also, by the way, swept the board on our foxhole. Simon says, big balls, exec decision. So a lovely, lovely day. As a reminder, the Favorites podcast is presented by Bet365. Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. That's why you get more boosts with them than with anyone else. Every day they power up the odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more. Bet365 boosts specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays. And they don't stop there. Keep an eye out for their biggest and best odds with the incredible Super Boost. Check out the boost and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and present in Colorado, Iowa, Louisiana, New Jersey, Ohio, Virginia, or 18 and older in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, restrictions apply. All right. We had Carolina plus 3.5. Doozy. Chicago plus 3.5. Roller coaster. Tampa Bay plus 3.5. As we expected, never a sweat. Tennessee minus 2.5. Boy, that was kicking the dick, as I like to say. And we had Buffalo 2.5 in the late window. That was never a problem. So, Simon, this was a week where we tried something different. We totally pulled the trigger much earlier. I called you Wednesday or texted you Wednesday and said, I want to go in now because I was afraid the Bears were going to move and the Panthers were going to move because the lines were starting to move on those games. They had been at 3.5. They were starting to move. So we grabbed the 3.5 in the contest. Turns out with the Bears, it mattered quite a bit. We were both a little bit anxious about the Titans today. We briefly discussed putting in the Pats and the Rams, but we didn't want to lose the Bears at 3.5. We stuck with it. End of the day, made all the right calls, which feels nice, right?
Yeah, I looked at it that the Titans died so that the Bears could fly, right? We needed to keep the Titans in just because we had the 3.5 on the Bears, and we kind of rolled the dice and we talked about it. It was like we took that Titans line thinking it was going to be one of the worst quarterbacks ever.
Yeah.
We didn't
Davis
think it was the
Mills.
case Keenum, a savvy vet who, he did what we thought he was going to do. He played dead and he came back. But yeah, as far as a 4-on-1 day can go, the only regret, not listening to Chad on the Rams, would have been a 5-0 day because that was the switch out, right? We
Yeah.
switched out the Rams on Tuesday or Wednesday night. Yeah, tough miss, but the public they keep on rolling, Chad.
Dude, you want to read the stat from Evan here? It's kind of amazing. I got it. I got it. We 15 favorites, 11
Oh,
and 3 straight up, 9-3-2 against the spread. Since week 8, favorites 88 and 38 straight up, 61, 50 and 5 against the spread, 55% clip. Somehow, because we're underdog players, we got lucky this week a little bit and got all 3 underdogs that covered in the Panthers, the Bears, and the Bucks. Let's get to it. Atlanta, Carolina was the first one. This game closed at 3. We
yeah.
had it at 3.5 in the contest. It was our big balls bet of the week. We had to go back to the well on the Panthers. As much as Matt Mitchell told us in the chat we couldn't do it, as much as people watching the podcast
Yeah,
on
I felt
Thursday
bad. People
told
were
us.
like getting sick over it.
But at the end of the day, it went exactly as we expected, which is like ugly game, ugly weather. And I honestly felt like it was going our way the whole game until the fourth quarter. Let me give you a scenario, okay? The Panthers had just made it 7-6 with 13 minutes left. Neither team had done anything offensively all day. Driving, rain, and wind. Desmond Ridder goes down the field, 12 plays, 6 minutes, Panthers 18-yard line. In that moment, sitting with my 17-year-old son, junior in high school, on the couch, I say out loud, if they score, we're done. We need a turnover right now. And my son, like, I think he was with me. He kind of grunted, I thought. Next play, Desmond Ridder throws a pick, and I'm yelling, can you believe I just called that? He didn't respond at all. He was sound asleep. I have no idea, like, what he did last night, when he got home. I was sound asleep. The Panthers then follow up the Falcons' 12-play drive with an 18-play, 7-minute, 30-second drive from the 10-yard line, 90 yards, to win the game. Holy shnikey, Simon.
Yeah, a game though that I was never scared because of what you just said though. It was always one possession away. And they get all the way down there. It's 7-3, and Thielen, who catches everything, had a really random drop right at the goal line to score or maybe get a first down. And they kick the three, and I'm just like, okay, well, at least we're covering, and now we have outside chance of hitting this round robin here, them going down and scoring. And you said it, like Ritter's making huge throws, big plays. They're getting all the way down the field. And I was right there with you. I was like, even if they kick three here, we might be dead because
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll go for three because there's not that much time left. And
No.
you're right. We finally had a bounce go our way. They're long overdue for one of those. And yeah, felt good where it's like, I totally understand why people are so sick of betting that Carolina team. And hopefully they don't have any good spots coming up because I don't enjoy it either. But me and Chad always say there's certain times you have to play certain spots. And that was such a spot, betting a divisional dog at home in bad weather. And it played out exactly as we predicted, right? Ritter struggles outdoors on the road, and he struggled outdoors on the road.
Turnover worthy plays this year, according to Pro Football Focus: 23, Mac Jones and Josh Dobbs; 22, Desmond Ridder, Sam Howell. So he did exactly what we expected him to do, exactly when we needed him to do it. And somehow he hadn't done it in the previous 53 minutes of a driving wind and rain football game, which is astonishing. Kudos, by the way, not just to us, to Sean Kerner, who called it on Convince Me and sort of described exactly why it might go the Panthers' way. He talked about all the injuries to the offensive line for the Falcons, which has had a very good run game all year. 52 rush yards on 31 attempts, the fewest rush yards on 30 plus attempts since 2011. And yeah, I feel like we've done all we can do with the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, exactly. I'm hoping we don't have to keep betting them, but
No.
we'll see. We'll see what the numbers are.
We'll see. We're going to have to take a look. I can't remember who they're playing. Maybe Evan or someone can throw it in the chat. I don't think I put it in our week 16 look ahead. I don't think I made a note of it. All
We're
right.
playing the Packers at home.
Oh, God.
Probably going to like them. Not
Well,
gonna lie.
honestly, because it's almost like the schedule makers try to make it as difficult as possible.
Oh, yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Chicago at Cleveland. Chicago's a 3.5-point underdog. This was our Simon Says. You nailed it. You said bet it at 3.5, closed at 3. It mattered very much.
Yeah, tough beat. I was sick to my stomach. Like it felt like we had it the whole game. Joe Flacco was Joe Flacco, and we had the turnovers, and then Justin Field just kept making little mistakes on the fourth down run. There was just a couple different plays where when he should have ran, he passed, and when he should have passed, he ran, and he just had an off day. And I think Bears fans could finally take a deep breath and realize this is why you can't pay this man as much as you want to. He's still going to need another couple years to build, and so does the team. Get Williams with that first pick or whatever pick you might get now, Chad. Now you got 2 wins with Carolina. Yeah, just whatever the quarterback is up top there. It's just the move for you guys. Like I think Justin Fields has tons of talent. Whoever he goes to next, maybe they can fix him and they're getting a great steal. But we see the struggle with him, right? He's so inconsistent week to week. You don't really know what you're getting from him. So in a game where your defense gets you 7, you should win that game. And it was all there. But like we talk all the time about this Bears team, they just don't know how to win. It's been a couple of years now with this team. They're in these games, they're dominating these games, and by the end of the game, they lose it somehow. It's just a team that does not know how to win and close games.
Multiple third and shorts, fourth and shorts where they could not convert. They would pitch the ball outside, run Justin Fields on a bootleg in the second half. First half, 12 of 21 for 100 yards and a touchdown. Also the pick, but that was on a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
Second half, let me give you his numbers. Second half,
That,
Simon.
that was weird too, that Hail Mary. Why did they just try to kick the 3 there? That was a
Yeah,
weird thing.
it's like I wrote in my notes for 29 minutes and 59 seconds. The Bears looked like a professional football team. They played well. They executed well. Even on that drive to get close to field goal range in the final minute, Justin Fields made all the right throws. He hit people in stride, got him out of bounds. They were within field goal range. So on the last second, they decided to throw a Hail Mary instead of kicking a field goal. And what are they afraid? Like it's going to be blocked. They're going to return it for a touchdown. That's the percentage of that is so small versus
Yeah.
the percentage to make to score a touchdown and convert a Hail Mary. And then in the second half, things go haywire. Justin Fields in the second half, 7 of 29 for 66 yards.
Oh my God.
He was 21 of 40 in the game. I'm sorry, 7 of 19 for 66
All right,
yards.
thank God. I was about to say,
No,
how did he have
no,
29
7 of 19.
attempts?
I misadded. 7 of 19 for 66 yards. But we talked so much about the Bears this week, and it was everything in one game. Fields was amazing in the first half, made plays that kept them in the game, that got them that first touchdown. And then he was terrible. And the defense in the first half was amazing, but in the second half, gave up all the big plays with all these bad calls. We have 3 weeks to determine if Fields is the QB, Eberflus is the coach, and all we have today is more questions. It's kind of astonishing.
No, you got your answer. You got your answer, brother. That was a game where you're playing against an injured, banged up, hungry playoff team. And, if if you have leaders of men, that's a game you win. Like that's a game you win because now you're in your own control of your own playoff run. And it was a game they had to have. Like it felt like that was the first real view we had of Fields in a playoff game. And that's why I like to take the number there. It was just like,
Yeah.
this is going to be a really close game. And it played out just as we had hoped. And then, that fourth quarter just all fell apart. So, yeah, just a brutal loss, but, happy we got the cover.
My slumbering son did wake up in time to watch the end of that game, and his only question was, why can't the Bears just be a normal football team?
Yeah, no, there's no fun in normal.
It's so upsetting for him. I've given him a life of misery. The Bears led 17-7 entering the fourth quarter and lost. They are 3-3 straight up since the start of last year when leading by 10 plus points entering the fourth quarter. They're 500. The rest of the NFL, 192, 16, and 1.
Wow.
Chicago's defense, 3 picks, 4 sacks, 1.6 yards per rush allowed, has only posted those numbers one other time in the past 33 years. That was in 2008. Unreal. But this team could not close the deal. Speaking of not, oh, no, actually, let's talk about Tampa Bay. Flowers for Simon. You nailed this one. From the second we saw it, you were on it. We got to take it. You're in. I followed your lead, had no opinion on it. This was a you're my guy play. First half had some classic Baker moments. Last minute in the first half,
Oh my
this was great.
God.
Last minute, the Bucs have a first down in the Packers territory. Baker gets sacked. The Bucs have a holding. It's 2nd and 29. Baker drops a perfect pass to Godwin for 24.
Yeah, 25 yards down the field.
They kick a field goal. And then in the second half, Baker was the player we've seen in spurts this entire year. It's like he took the one good part of the previous 14 games they've played and put it all into one game. 22 of 28 for 381, no picks, 4 tutties.
I mean, wow. Like, think about how crazy that is in Lambeau in December. Like, it's crazy. And
Yeah.
like again, props to the pros this summer. They kept talking about this Tampa team. I laughed them off. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't really believe it. And they've been far and above the best team in that division. It's crazy. Every week they just play so well. So yeah, what an incredible run for Tampa. And those are the fun bets on those kind of dogs where even at halftime, it's just like we're not going to lose this 3.5. Like if the Green Bay wins this, they're somehow going to win by
Yes.
3. So you know, took a lot of shit, not from you, but from another professionals on Saturday, guys being like, that's a bad bet. You can't fade um, this Green Bay team at home in this position. And sure enough, I saw a couple of books hit 4.5 before
Yeah.
kickoff. Like a lot of money came in on Green Bay before kickoff. And yeah, that was uh what you said, classic Baker game. Like when he had that little turnover in the first quarter or whatever it was, and they got the touchdown off of it, it was like, okay, this is the game. This is the kind of game we're gonna have from
Uh-huh.
Baker where he's sloppy with the ball. But no, like he stuck in there, and we talk about all the time. It's just the guy is so on to the next play. He's very very veteran savvy with that, where it's like he makes mistakes, doesn't let it bog him down. He keeps playing his style of football, and we said it coming into the year. If he uses Mike Evans and Godwin as they should be used, you can't cover them both, right? There's someone you have to shift the coverage to. And this year, Mike Evans, I don't know how many touchdowns he's up to, but it might be 8 or 9 touchdowns. It's like Baker, Brady. I mean, there wasn't that much of a step down, shockingly, from Brady to Baker. So I don't trust the coaching. I still don't trust Todd Bowles, but that's a really fun team in Tampa that, they're leading that division, right? It's either them or the Saints at this point. It's pretty incredible what they've done.
Well, I got news for you, buddy. Next week, they're home underdogs against the Jags. Baker is 25 and 21 against the spread as an underdog, which totally makes sense. But
That's
Bucks are 7 and
crazy.
1. What's that?
He's 20. What is he as a dog?
25-21 against the spread as an underdog.
Okay, that's still pretty good.
Yeah. Bucks are 7 and 1 against the spread on the road this year.
No, it's been crazy. And the only
Yep.
loss, and I bet I've been betting all of them, the only loss we have is that 49ers game where
Yep.
it was Baker's first turnover in the red zone in like 2 years. So
Yep.
pretty incredible run by this team.
Baker had a perfect passer rating at Lambeau. Aaron Rodgers is the only other person to do that at Lambeau Field.
What is
Uh,
2023? What a bizarre year.
it's such a bizarre freaking year where
Yeah.
we are in love with Baker Mayfield. It's just amazing. Houston at Tennessee. So look, we had Tennessee -2.5. This
Yeah.
was our sort of weird, tricky one for the week. Um, Tennessee gave up a 10-point lead. Tennessee gave up a touchdown lead. Honest to God, it felt like at times, especially in the fourth quarter, Texans defensive tackle Malik Collins was in the backfield more than Derrick Henry because Will Levis was sacked 7 times, and nearly every single one of them felt like it was the exact wrong moment for him to be sacked. It was excruciating to watch that game dwindle away.
Oh, they got to the Titans. The Titans got to Houston's 40-yard line like 5 times in that second half.
Oh, yeah.
And every time what you said happened, where he got sacked, they got out of field goal range, they had the punt. Yeah, just it felt really good. Like that first half played out just as I wanted it to. Like you said, it was 13-3. Looking at it, I was like, okay, if we get a touchdown here in the second half, we'll win this bet. Like we'll cover this one. But we talked about this morning, like when they announced it was Case Keenum, that's what we didn't want to hear because it's just veterans play these kind of games where he's dog shit. He's not that good, but can he put together a couple of drives for you compared to some idiot like Davis Mills? Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that was the difference. Like the guy came in and he played bad, and then when he had to turn it on at the fourth quarter, he turned it on. And like you said, they needed 13 points in that second half, and he got the 13, and then he got the 3 in overtime. And it's like that's how you have these kind of veteran guys where I love Tommy DeVito's story, and it's been really fun. He's been winning games too. But this is why most teams want to go these veteran guys from like old
Yeah.
past, where it's like you can just trust him. Where he made those dumb turnovers, but didn't really get to him, right? He kind of stayed with it, and that was the sickest part. Is we had in overtime, he threw a pick, and the guy dropped it, and it
Yeah.
was like on their 40, and it was like that was it. Like that would have won us the game. So tough loss, but that's life when you bet these coin flip games. It's like we had a good number. It felt like it was going to land on 3. We had the 2.5. Didn't get there. Cost me a lot, but I felt good all week. It was like I had the best of the number because it was 3, 3.5, basically from what, Thursday, Friday on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, good win by Houston. I mean, that's a team that's a playoff team. So pretty incredible win by them.
Against my better judgment, I did also bite on the New York Giants when it got to +6 this morning. And as
Mm.
I was doing it, I said to myself, what am I doing? You never win the bets that you've been against all week and it moves half a point on Sunday morning and you decide to pull the trigger. And I probably do that like once or twice every week. And it always like eats into your bankroll annoyingly. And I knew the Giants weren't going to be the right side. They were a public dog. I don't know why I got swayed, but I did it. And it was another similar scenario. Like at some point, the magic fades for the young quarterbacks. Unfortunately, Will Levis hasn't had much magic to begin with. Dallas at Buffalo. Buffalo -2.5. This was the exact decision. Uh, Look, they were just a team possessed from the beginning. Like
Yeah.
Josh Allen wouldn't go down. James Cook wouldn't go down. They were hitting every single Dallas defender so freaking hard. They had so much attitude. We're going to talk a lot about playoff scenarios as we get to the final 3 weeks, because in the past 3 games, the Bills nearly beat the Eagles at home in Philly. They beat Kansas City at home. They throttled the Cowboys and likely ended Dak Prescott's MVP campaign. The next 2 weeks, they have the Chargers and the Patriots. The Miami Dolphins have the Ravens and the Cowboys. So this is going to get interesting real fast.
Yeah. It's just pretty interesting that we're at this point of the season that I feel like everyone's on the Bills, right? Even before that game, I feel like everyone was coming around on where it's
Yep.
like, yeah, this is where you play the Bills. And we always talk about there's certain spots. The Cowboys just they had a lot of turnover luck, but they also had really hadn't played anyone. They kind of
Yeah.
ran through a gauntlet of teams that it's nothing against the Cowboys. Like they did their job. Dak played well. It wasn't his fault, right? He played well in those games. They beat those bad teams. But in this game, when everything wasn't perfect and they're
They got
not getting
exposed.
turnovers, yeah, like it's just really tough. And you know, the thing I always thought Dallas had was they're kind of like big bullies, and they got bullied. I mean, from the get-go, they were getting bullied, and the Bills just looked bigger and they looked fresher. They looked like they wanted to be there. Where Dallas, what was it, 14-3? They were just shocked. Like they didn't
Yeah.
seem like they were into it at all. So um yeah, those are the fun bets, right? Like you bet the side. We take shit all week, especially from Cowboy fans who are just like, yeah, people don't get it. This is our year. And it's just like, you guys know better. Like this is what this Cowboys team does all the time to you guys. So yeah, I'm honestly shocked that Dak played so bad. Because, say what you want about the Bills, they do have all those injuries to their defense. Like they aren't a team that should just shut you down and hold you to 10 points. So that was the biggest takeaway was just that was a bad game by Dallas. And now we talked about they have 2 tough games coming up. I might back Dallas next week because they're gonna be devalued to the public opinion now, and this might be the time to buy in them.
Oh, yeah.
So
Totally.
terrible spot for Dallas, but they're still in control to get the 5th seed. Now the Eagles have a banged up Hurts. Maybe they can still fight and win the division still. But yeah, this was a huge game for Dallas where it would have decided Dak getting MVP most likely, them winning the division, them having a chance to be the 1 seed, and all the naysayers, everyone like me who hate on Dak and were like the guys never playing a conference game, we would have had to shut our mouths until the playoffs. Now we can open our mouths again. It's just like same old Dak. We were right. We were waiting here in the bushes like a snake, and we were right. So yeah, I think anyone at this point knows if it's Dallas going to Philadelphia, if it's Dallas going to play the 49ers in the playoffs, I think everyone's, in agreement where it's like most likely you're not going to back Dallas, but they're still a team that if they get in, there still could be a path for them to get there. So I'm not going to totally give up on Dallas yet, but it was just if you're a Dallas believer, that was as worse as it could possibly be in that game.
MVP ads: Brock Purdy -150, Lamar +350, Dak +800, Josh Allen,
Damn.
10 to 1, Hurts 14 to 1, Christian McCaffrey. We're going to talk about this too on Tuesday. Christian McCaffrey 14 to 1. So, very interesting movement in the playoff in the playoff opportunities with the way the schedule is lining up,
Yeah.
and really interesting MVP odds to think about it. Well, we're going to talk about to think about as well. We're going to talk about all of that. As a reminder, catch every episode of the favorites live on YouTube. For those enjoying on YouTube right now, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. Again, to recap, our foxhole: Rams -6.5, Carolina +3, Buffalo -2.5, Chicago +3.5. Simon, midway through, I would say at 4:30, if you had said to me, you're going to sweat your Rams -6.5 at the end of the day more than your Bills -2.5, I would have paid you $1 right then, because Ron Rivera, he almost tooketh and then he giveth.
Yeah, it's just I don't know how the books do it because that line did not make sense all week, and I wanted to be on it with you because I had it at 7.5. Didn't understand why it was at 7.5. The public was hammering it. The books just held steady at 6.5, like they knew something. They didn't. Like you covered it. But yeah, it should have been a sweat. It was just it was a classic letdown spot for the Rams. And yeah, that was crazy. Like I really can't believe Ron Rivera didn't go for two, and then the extra point gets blocked. It was just beautiful karma for anyone that's like into analytics and just the old dinosaur coaches who are slowly dying out from the league. Like Ron Rivera's one of the last ones. It's just so dated. Like me and Chad, we've been on the other side of that. We were
Oh,
on,
yeah.
I don't know what week it was. We had them though. We needed them to go for two, and they didn't go for it. And it's just like, I'm just so glad I blacklisted them. Like it's just nice knowing I don't have to back them in this contest. But
Meanwhile,
should have listened to you.
Sean McVay did go for two, and that's why we would have ended up covering if they had made that extra point. Um, our round robin this week was Carolina, Chicago, Tampa Bay, New York Giants, and the Jags. So the Bears could have made it pretty tasty earlier in the day. I believe we skipped Survivor this week because
Yeah, I'm out.
everyone's out of it. So our Sunday Night Football picks and leans for those joining live. You've been on Baltimore all week. I haven't made any bets in this game other than Lamar Jackson under his passing yardage total, based on Sean Kerner's advice on Convince Me Today. You're still feeling Baltimore. It's now, I think, at -4.
Wow. Yeah, I took them. It just got down to three, and I just felt like it was too much movement. But four is probably right where the number should be. So I'd say if you missed a 3.5 or the three, I think the guys, yeah, they gave up the under right.
Yep.
But yeah, I like the Ravens with the weather and everything in this spot. It's hard for me to trust a banged up Trevor Lawrence and a Jaguars offense. So yeah, pretty chalky by me to take the Ravens here. But I got it at -3. It's up to -4. So apparently
The
I beat
number
the number rush.
under is 42.5, 18
So
mile plus.
that's moved too then.
Yeah, that's gone up actually. It was
Yeah,
it was lower
it was
earlier today.
41.
Unders cashing at a very significant percentage with wins of 18 plus or more. That would include today in Carolina, today in Cleveland. So be on the lookout for that. It's why I bet Lamar Jackson under his passing yardage total. Monday Night Football getting a little funky. This line was at 4. It's moving pretty fast because of the news about Jalen Hurts. We don't know if we're getting Drew Lock and Marcus Mariota or what the heck is going to be happening in here. So I haven't played this game at all.
Yeah, I'm trying to see right now what the if there's any bigger update, but I mean it came out this morning.
Seattle
Hurts,
+3.
yeah, Hurts is sick. The number dropped from 3.5, 4 to a lot of books down to 3, and we might be getting a Mariota versus Drew Lock. Like I just can't, as an Eagles fan, it's like weird to say right now where my defensive coordinator apparently is Matt Patricia, and my quarterback is Marcus Mariota. Like this is hell. So hopefully it's just this week for Mariota, but it's surreal where it's like we need this win. We can't lose games. And I'm all in. I believe in this team. I'll take the three, but Mariota is bad. And the Eagles historically have been very bad in Seattle. I don't think we've won there in like 15 years. Is that right, Evan? Isn't it some
I,
crazy stat like
I
that?
think Pete Carroll has won 7 straight games against the Eagles.
Yeah. And I just know we don't win in Seattle. Like in my lifetime, we just don't win there. So pretty bad if you're an Eagles fan. If you're betting Seattle,
Pretty
uh,
bad.
yeah, the number, despite all the money coming on the Eagles, was coming down all week, right? And no one knew why.
Yep.
And obviously the pros, they knew about the Hurts news. So, yeah, pretty interesting game now Monday night.
Simon, can you name the fastest growing ticketing app in the United States?
Game time.
That's right. It's our sponsor, Game Time. I love Game Time for 2 reasons. One, they sponsor this show. Number two, I actually use Game Time to buy my tickets. That's right, folks. I bought tickets this past week on Game Time. I'm going to tell you what game I bought them for. They've got amazing last minute deals on all sorts of tickets, including pro and college games. I'm actually opening the Game Time app right now from my house. You can get into a UConn men's basketball game this upcoming weekend for less than $85. UConn, national champions, top 5 team. I bought UConn basketball tickets on Game Time this week for January when they're going to be hosting their rivals, Creighton. Listen, no matter where you live, download the Game Time app, get out, have some fun. This week, go sweat your bets live and in person. You can redeem code favorites for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, just download the app and enter code favorites for $20 off. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Simon, I opened up the Action Network app midway through the late afternoon games to see where we would want to make some early leans. First game on the board that popped for me, Buffalo Bills, nearly 2 touchdown favorites at the Los Angeles Chargers. How do we not fade the Bills here? I mean, like dominant showings back to back weeks, the near win against the Eagles. The Chargers just fired their coach. They got a backup QB. They're at home. Dude, we
Short week.
have, I wish we had a drop for this. The dead cat bounce. We got it. Dead cat fever. Yeah, yeah, yeah. By the way,
It,
by the way, by the way, they're now 14-point underdogs, the Chargers. Stuckey, literally, as I'm looking, just put in the Chargers plus 14 in the Action Network app.
yeah, it's a classic spot, right? It's a short week for the Bills, and they have to travel from east to west. They came off the high of highs by blowing out Dallas, and we expect them to have a letdown game. Thank God we can't put this in the contest because this is such a bet we'll make, and we'll be
Oh
down
my God, it
85.
would be awful.
Awful experience, but this is a spot we have to bet, especially this week after all the big dogs lost, right? Like the
Yeah.
Jets blown out, Patriots blown out, the who else we have? Cardinals blown out. Like
Yep.
the public is just having their way right now, but these are the kind of games that catch them, right? That's why they're making this spread so big. I bet you if it wasn't like it's been these last couple of weeks, this will be what, 12 and a half, 13 maybe?
Yeah,
They're just saying,
totally.
no, we'll hang a 14. Please, anyone come and take this 14. So I'm right there with you. I'll grab the plus 14, but wouldn't be shocked if this goes up some more. I mean, the Bills, they just, they just look like bullies today. And Stick, say what you want about the kid. He looked totally lost against the Raiders. I don't care how much extra time they've had to prepare. There's nothing that's going to fix that kid, right? He looked a little lost. So taking the plus 14, me and you here, we're just playing the trends, right, Chad? There's not
Yeah.
much thinking behind other than playing the trends.
By the way, there's most places are 13 and a half. I don't know where Stuckey got that number. I'm with you. I might wait a second to see if it goes up to
I'm hoping.
14. What's that?
So I'm hoping that's what happened. You see this note from here from Evan?
What's that?
Bills won by 17. The Chargers lost by 17 plus. Teams when they face in those exact scenario, 111, 76, and 4 ATS, so 59%.
I
So
mean, I'm a little worried.
you want to play the Chargers.
Let's talk about this for a second. At 13 and a half, I kind of want to take it because I'm worried the wise guys are just going to come in and take the 13 and a half since it already was at 14 for a second.
Yeah, I would say I texted someone to go get the 14. It's 14 right now at bet 365. So I'll take it. But like you said, I'm assuming the professionals will come in on this one, but I just won't be shocked. Come Saturday, it's a standalone game. This is going to be in everyone's teasers, right? Everyone's going to have this teased.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a leg of everyone's parlay.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Okay. Um, what do you think of Dallas +2 at Miami?
I want to take it. Like I just said, I want to take it. And like that was my first bet I made. It was 2.5. I took the two. Now it's down to 1.5. So like that
Really?
number's running already on Dallas. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I'll take this now. And if Tyree comes back, maybe my thinking will change. But that was, that was the perfect game for Miami, right? They could run the ball with ease. And if they can run the ball with ease against Dallas, I think we just saw what Dallas's weakness is, right? Like Cook had a career day against them today running the ball. And Miami, that's the fear with them. Like they have a really good run blocking scheme. It's that Shanahan scheme. That's where McDaniel runs through. So Mostert just set their record, Miami, most rushing touchdowns in a
Yeah.
season with 3 games left. They're just an incredible run blocking team. And despite having all those injuries to the offensive line, it didn't matter. We expect the Dallas D line should dominate that Miami offensive line. So really, really interesting game I have to dive into more, but we've already missed the two. Like if the Dallas still had the 2.5, I would say grab it now, but it's already gone. So we can wait to break that down Tuesday.
Uh, I looked at Detroit, Minnesota. Uh, when I
What is
first
that
looked,
line?
what's that?
Said what a crazy line.
What a crazy, that was at 4.5 when I first saw it.
Wow.
And it's what?
I said wow.
Yeah. And so to me, like Detroit on the road, but it's an indoor game. My instinct was to take Minnesota because their defense has just been so freaking good.
So good.
It's so good. So good. So good. So good. Uh so I lean Minnesota here. That and I wanted to get it before it moved down.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's 3 now. So
Jesus.
yeah, I want to take Detroit. Like
Yeah, me too at 3.
but that's scary. That's going to be every Joe Public in the world. So,
Gotta wait.
well, I'm going to throw a little bet on it just in case it goes back up. And then if it does go back to 4.5, I'll try to hit. I'll try to hit that weird 4 in middle. But I want to be on Minnesota. Like your gut instinct to go on Minnesota is right
Yeah.
here. I want to be on Minnesota, but yeah, Detroit. They've been good to me in this spot. Like they've been good as a public favorite at like this season. They have been. So. Um, I'm shocked it's already down to 3. That's crazy line movement here for Sunday night.
I think the fact that the game is indoors changes it a little bit. We've seen just how good Jared Goff is indoors. And look, the one thing we've talked
He's
about,
going against what? A fourth stringer
yeah,
quarterback?
yeah, exactly. And like we've talked about Frank Ragnow and his importance as a center for the Lions. And we saw it this past week. He will be healthy and playing. It's added insurance coverage, depressurizing the calls at the offensive line against a very complicated blitz scheme that Brian Flores is running. So we'll talk about that one on Tuesday. Cleveland at Houston. Houston, assuming Stroud plays, I'm not sure what you're seeing right now. When I looked before we came on the air, it was Houston -2.5.
Yeah, it's down to -2. I'm all over it. I'm walking right into it.
You
If
mean
it's not,
Houston, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I
If
love
it's not,
Houston here.
yeah, and if it's not CJ, you know, I might not buy on my position. I might just ride it out if it's Case Keenum again because what Chad talked about today is what I saw from Houston is just a team that even though they didn't have CJ, even though they didn't have Collins, even though they have number 1 tight end, even though I think Anderson didn't play either, the D end, like, or maybe I just didn't hear his name, but it just felt like it was all against them. And that was like an incredible coaching job, like kept all the guys together. They're down 10 at half. They stayed in it that whole game. And I honestly kind of wanted to back the Cleveland because I thought we'd be getting 4, 3.5 on them. But the pros, the public, whoever's coming in, they're hitting them on this number right now. Like
Yeah.
they came in and bet the 2.5 on Cleveland. So yeah, I'm gonna look forward to calling around, seeing who's betting that. But first reaction for me is you take Houston here, and if it's CJ, this easily is gonna go above 3. Like this will
Yep.
go up to 3.5. I mean, Cleveland, don't let it fool you against the Bears. The Bears had tons of opportunities. Their defense is injured. They're banged up. They're not the same team we were used to.
Offensive line injured too. Joel Bitonio went out during the game too.
And they're a different team. We say all the time, they're a different team on the road than they are at home. You can go look
Yep.
at the splits, totally different team. So no doubt, love Houston, grabbing the 2 now. It's if it stays under 3, this will be one of our 5. I promise you that.
I thought about Seattle, Tennessee plus 2.5 for a second because it's a variable spot.
Yeah, I
Um,
know. And we're supposed to do it.
we're supposed to do it. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of hoping Will Levis might not play. He injured his ankle pretty badly at the end of the game. Do we get Ryan Tannehill off the bench one last hurrah?
You forget how bad Ryan Tannehill is because it's been a while, but
But at least
that might
he has frequently covered in that spot, whereas
true.
Will Levis
True.
has been kryptonite for our Mike Vrabel podcast
I know. At
numbers.
home, he's been killing us. Vrabel at home always wins those games. It's so
Yes,
brutal.
but I'm skipping that one because I want to get to another one
Yeah.
that is so ugly. New England plus 5.5 at Denver.
I know. I want to do it, but I think honestly the value right now is on Denver. Like this should be 6.5.
Maybe it'll
So
get there. I'm just saying we don't have to bet it right now, but come Tuesday, it might be at 6.5.
yeah, I don't think I know Denver's been very lucky with turnovers, but isn't this the perfect team to play if you like luck with turnovers? Like Zappy, Mac Jones, they can't help but turn the ball over. I mean, it's incredible. Like Zappy, he played so well in the first half, and then he comes on the second half and he has 2 really dumb throws, and one of them is right to one of the defenders.
Yes.
Yeah, like it was like, dude, just throw the ball out of bounds, live for the next down. Just brutal because, like, again, the Patriots defense, they're playing so well. So I don't hate it, Chad, but I would wait. I think that goes up to 6.5. That's where I think the number should be.
All right. We'll wait. We'll wait and see if it gets there. What am I missing?
I mean, just again, this is just instant reaction, what I want to bet. And I know Colts fans, they probably want me to keep picking against their Colts team because it keeps winning. How quick they forget. No one was a bigger champion of the Colts in August. I had all their over tickets, but I don't got to read on them. But I'll tell you this much: Atlanta as a dog at home, I'm gonna take it. Like they're the kind of team where when they're favorites, I want to fade them, especially on the road, and when they're a home dog, I tend to like to back them, especially in a game where I know no one's gonna be betting them. Like I know everyone that took them this week, the 90% of the public and 80% of the tickets, wherever it was, they're
Yep.
totally off this Atlanta team. So I'll grab the +2 just now, just in case it does move down.
The other game that could get interesting. Pittsburgh is a 2.5 point dog right now at home against Cincinnati. Cincinnati with Jake Browning. Jamar Chase has a sprained AC shoulder joint. DJ Reader done for the year.
I don't know what to do. I don't want to tell you how much money I lost on them on Saturday.
You know
Like,
what we're gonna do?
I don't know how healthy am I need more time on this one. I can't even pick it.
I honestly didn't take the Steelers last week. I'm not taking Mitch Trubisky. I don't
You're
care if
so
it's
when it
a
was 13-0, dude, I was like, what a read. What a
I'm like
play. Tomlin bounce back spot. Boy, did I feel like a fucking idiot. Sickening. Truly sickening.
as soon as I was watching that game and I was actually like, I can't believe I didn't bet this game. I cannot
Yeah.
believe I didn't bet the
You lucky
Steelers.
son of a bitch. No, you had good
Oh
read.
my God. And then I went out. My wife and I went out for dinner and saw a movie. And I came home and I saw the final score. And I sat down to watch I think it was was it the Lions? No, who played last
Yeah,
night?
yeah, Lions,
The
Lions,
Lions. And
Denver.
I had the Lions -4, 4.5, whatever. I'm like, oh, I feel so much better now.
Yeah.
Maybe the
Jeez.
play in that game is the under. It's 38.5 right now. Maybe the play in
Yeah.
that game is the under. All right. So very early leans that Chargers plus 13.5 plus 14. Dallas, you liked it at 2.5 and 2. You got it there. It's at 1.5 a lot of places now. You might want to hold off on that. Houston -2 if you can get it. Atlanta +2 at home against Indy. And those are sort of the leans right now.
Yep.
All right. As a reminder, the Favorites podcast is presented by Bet365. Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. That's why you get more boost with them than with anyone else. Every day they power up the odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more. Bet365 boosts specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays. And they don't stop there. Keep an eye out for their biggest and best odds with the incredible Super Boost. Check out the boosts and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and present in Colorado, Iowa, New Jersey, Louisiana, Ohio, Virginia, or 18 and older in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, restrictions apply. If you love listening or watching us live, which you should, every point against the spread matters. Catch our next episode on Tuesday, 1:45 p.m. Eastern on Action Network's YouTube channel, covering the entire week 16 NFL board. Download us from Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your pods. Rate, review, subscribe, leave us 5 stars, say whatever you want. Feedback is a gift. Until next Tuesday, 1:45 p.m. Eastern. Love you.